This is Lon Woodbury. I'm an independent educational consultant down from North Idaho visiting Fulshear Ranch. And what we're going to try to do today is go through and document on video a professional tour of a program or a school, and I'll try to show what we can of what that tour consists of. And it consists of asking questions, description of the programs, what the program is, and things like that. But one thing can't be shown by the camera, but that's always going on, and you should be aware of. Some consultants, when they visit, have studied the mission statement and the programs, and then they ask the students, and they're evaluating, are they doing what they say they're doing? And then they give a wrap-up on that, and if they see that they're doing what they say they're doing. I tend to be of the old school, and I like to look at how the safety factor, the emotional safety factor. Do the kids look comfortable? Because I've been in programs where kids look very, very frightened. They're fearful. They're fearful to even look at me, fearful to look at a stranger or something like that. And you can tell when a program is punishment-oriented rather than healing-oriented, and in that case, the kids show the fear. So I always look very closely at the kids. Do they seem to be comfortable? Do they seem to be safe? I look internally. Do I feel safe? Do I feel safe? Is this a place I'd like to just hang out for a while? And that's a large part of how I evaluate a program. That'll be going on, and I don't think there's any way we can show it, but be aware, this is part of what goes on in a professional tour. Now, I'm here with Gail, who's the executive director of this program, and I guess what this is, we can use it as the Aborigines did, a speaking stick. So, could you introduce yourself and what it is you do here?
Thank you. Yes, I'm Dr. Gail Jensen-Savoy. I'm the executive director here at Fulshear Ranch. And what I do is oversee all of the terrific things that happen here. I have a wonderful staff, and in a professional tour, I introduce all of the staff members, the entire leadership team, to the families, to the ed consultants, and then help them understand what our mission is, what our values are, what it is we really do here, which, in my view, is we treat young women better than anyone else. And that's what we do at Fulshear.
Okay, well, could you explain what kind of kids, what is it that brings a kid here? I gather it's all girls. And why don't you explain the overview of the program as if I'd never been here before? I was here years and years ago, but it's changed so much that if I remembered any of that visit, I'd probably just confuse myself. But could you explain the type of kids you have, the age range, and what you try to do with the girls?
Great. I'd love to. We treat young women, 18 to 24. We only treat women, and we really have three phases. Phase 1 and Phase 2 is really the treatment phase. When the girls come in, they get acclimated to the program here. We treat young women typically that have a lot of trauma, depression, substance abuse, attachment disorders. Those are really the girls we work the best with. During their Phase 1 and Phase 2, they're having individual therapy, they're having group therapy, they're going to school, really just getting settled in treatment and what brought them here. Then we have Phase 3, which is our apartments in Sugar Land. That's really an experiential transition phase where the girls learn how to utilize the skills they learned here on the ranch and begin to get out in the workforce, go to college, and really utilize those life skills.
So could you give, for instances, some of the traumas that the girls have had that come here, and what you do? What's a major change element, or what do you use as change element to help the girls heal?
We do lots of things. The trauma is really varied because, again, what is traumatic for me may not be traumatic for you, and vice versa. We do have a lot of girls that have a history of sexual abuse. We have women that range from that have graduated college and may have had several traumatic experiences during college. We have some that have childhood trauma, some that may have had surgeries as a child, and that is really what has been their traumatic experience. So it is the full range, because again, what may be traumatic for one is not traumatic for the other. So they work very hard with their individual therapist, with the families. We're relationship-based. Life's about relationships. It's about what happens between you and me. And that's what really we work on with the girls, how to develop those strong relationships and those healthy relationships and boundaries.
Well, how many girls do you have here right now? And what would you say would be the optimum number of girls, ones that you're designed for and feel most comfortable?
Currently we have 30 girls here, and optimal at this point with all of our campuses, 42 would be kind of the optimal number, I guess, we would have. At that point, we would really need to look at expanding. The number of girls really depends on how well they're working together. You know, we really look at girls when they come here. We just don't take every 18 to 24-year-old girl who's experienced some trauma or who may have an attachment issue. They really have to fit in with the other girls and what's going on, so that's very important to look at the entire community.
What kind of girls would you screen out?
Any girl who is medically unstable, because we are a residential program, any girl who is actively suicidal, who actively has aggression towards others. We are cognitive-based, so they need to at least have, you know, average IQ or better.
So what are the elements? Well, now talk a little bit about the academics. Most of them, I presume, have graduated from high school in one manner or form. But what do you do academically?
That's probably really what I'm most proud of since I have been here and the changes we've seen. We have a terrific academic director, Candace, who really has worked very hard with these girls. Now, interesting, we have a lot who have not graduated from high school, so they have different options. Some of them choose to go the GED route. Some of them will do online high school through a couple of the universities, or they can also do their high school through our other sister program, New Haven, and get credit that way and graduate. That's one segment. We also have girls who will do college online, and then when they move to phase 3, a lot of our girls go to the University of Houston Sugar Land campus or Wharton County Community College and participate in schooling there. We also really want girls to have some kind of brain activity where they're thinking, where they're concentrating. So if they've completed college, we do have girls who have finished college, they may look at doing an Excel class, a computer class. Maybe a girl really wants more of a life skills, a technical school, so they go to phlebotomy school. Anything that's keeping them in that learning mode, because that is also, you know, with life, we want them to continue to learn. We have increased the number of girls in school. I think as of October 1st, when we finish all the registration, we'll probably have over 80% of our girls attending some kind of class.
I understand you have an equine therapy program, so could you explain that? And how does working with horses help a kid, particularly a kid that's had a trauma?
Well, they can't fool a horse. You know, the way they interact with a horse and the way the horse interacts with them is so much the way they interact and have relationships. The horses will pick them out, and they can't fool them. The anxiety, the horses feel it. It's all about the feeling state of it. We have a GALA certified equine therapist who you will meet in the barn, and I would have to say that that is probably one of the strongest parts of our programs. The girls, we have several girls who will come down here to Texas, and they will absolutely not want to even go to the barn. And then once they interact with the horses, once they see the benefit of the equine therapy, that becomes their favorite part.
Well, how does equine therapy differ from horsemanship?
Horsemanship is really more about riding and interacting with a horse, you know, on a riding level, jumping level, showing level, whereas equine therapy is really about the therapy with the horses, the therapy with the group. The girls, we can do family therapy with the horses, and it's how the girls respond, how the horses respond to them. They may go out there and we ask them, okay, have the horse go in a circle without touching them, without talking, and able to see how they can influence through nonverbal communication.
So this is somewhere sort of what was popularized as the horse whisperer approach?
Somewhat popularized as that, yes.
Okay, well, I think the average person maybe has heard more about that than equine therapy. How are the living situations, and how do you design that to help the girls, again, heal from their trauma?
We have 4 houses here on our main campus. We have a house that has 12 beds, and then 3 houses that have 6 beds each. We also have an additional campus that has 6 beds, and then the apartments. The girls have roommates, unless there is a huge issue that they need a room by themselves. Sometimes a girl may, you know, sleep talk and sleepwalk, and so she gets a room alone. But It's really designed so it's a community, so they can learn to interact, because a lot of these girls have never had to interact with other females. It's very important in the single gender how to interact with each other, how to share a bathroom, how to confront issues without screaming and yelling, how to really be able to have those kind of skills of interacting with each other. So living in a house together, as you can imagine, 12 girls, can get loud at times, but it really is teaching them how to be a group, how to have social skills.
Okay, well, let's talk about the therapy, the therapeutic, and I think maybe this is the time to call in Dan, the clinical director, and to explain what kind of therapy they do, the theoretical basis, and, well, just, Dan, explain what you're trying to do clinical-wise. You're the clinical director, so you should be able to be the final authority, right?
Well, as the clinical director, my job is to oversee all the therapeutic aspects of what we do here, whether that's individual, family, group therapy, and also the therapeutic aspects of the milieu, which is really where these young women take what they're learning therapeutically and apply it in living community with the other young women here, as well as the staff. What we do here is pretty much tried and true evidence-based, cognitive behavioral therapy, DBT, which of course is a relatively new approach with just a combination of things that we've used before, as well as EAP, some post-trauma work. And we have different therapists who have their strengths and passions in different areas, and part of my job is to make sure that we do that seamlessly, that it makes sense from group to group, that all the therapists know what's going on with all the students, so we can be consistent. What we find, especially in a year-long program, is the change that endures is the change that gets practiced in the community. So we want to have a sort of a consistent front with all of the staff, and being aware of the problems, the issues that these young women are working on, what their strengths are, and being able to affirm where they're growing so that they practice this on a regular basis, day in and day out, throughout the 3 phases, and they'll have something to take with them. We'll always have some breakthrough moments. There's no doubt about that. But even breakthrough moments and deep insights don't really mean much in the long run unless they're put into practice with success. So part of what I get to do actually is work with these wonderful therapists and making sure they understand what each is doing. We all learn from each other. We all grow from each other. We rely upon each other where we feel like we need some support, and I try to make that happen.
How about students that are therapy resistant? They say they've been therapeuticized to death, or I don't like therapy, and they're very, very resistant. So how do you handle that?
Okay, that sometimes is most of our students. And part of the reason that other things haven't worked. Residential treatment, of course, is not usually the first thing you want to do. You want to do something with the lowest threshold. So those that come to us have been in other programs. Some, again, have become so savvy with therapy that they are resistant to it, and some have tried outpatient. That hasn't worked. And we really have to find ways to kind of go through the back door. That's one of the benefits of equine therapy. It almost doesn't feel like therapy, because what we're doing is we're talking about horses and their behavior, and we're observing things that are happening in the pen when we go through these activities. And then they sort of talk about that, and what happens when it's done well here, is the therapist is able to help them recognize where that applies to them. You get to see some of the more treatment-resistant students really respond to that because they don't see it coming. And then when they do and they break through that, they get to see that, wow, there is still work that I can do. I still can benefit from this. I think that it takes good, strong relationships with our students to help them trust and understand what the benefits are, to try and get back in depth, regardless of all the vocabulary that they've learned, regardless of everything they've learned, how to parrot back. We have to be aware when we're just hearing what they've heard and what's really coming forth in therapy. One of the great things, the golden opportunities about being in residential treatment is we don't just see and hear what we hear for an hour sitting in individual therapy or in group therapy. We get to hear about what's actually happening in the community. Does that really line up with what they're saying when they sit with us in therapy?
So you have both individual therapy and group therapy, and does that have all house type therapy or theme groups, or explain a little bit of the different approaches you use in the therapy?
Well, every student will participate in process groups, and process groups really are where the students bring the topic, and the therapist guides them through the process of that with each other. We also have DBT groups, and a lot of that is skills training, because DBT really does provide a lot of specific skills taught in a certain way with a certain vocabulary. We have an adoption group that's specific to those students that are dealing with those issues. Chemical dependency for those that are chemically dependent, which right now is about 20% of our students. We also do relationship groups, and of course that's a broad topic that can be tailored to whoever happens to be sitting in the group at that time. One of the things that we've brought in the past 9 months or so is spirituality as an essential part of dealing with mind, body, and spirit. Outside of that, we can, as the need arises, have grief groups, if that's helpful, post-trauma groups, if that's helpful. We're always open to being creative and really trying to meet the needs of the students who happen to be with us at that time.
Let's talk about the spiritual, because I'm sure when you talk about spiritual, you're not talking religion. You're talking spiritual, and a little bit, how do you get into that, and how do you deal with that without getting into denomination or what's commonly recognized as religion?
That's the challenge. That's the challenge, and it's interesting because in trying to bring this together and seeing what approaches are out there that are not religiously focused and driven, I anticipated that it would be more difficult than it has been. I'm amazed that the students already have a healthy respect for each other and don't use that as an opportunity to push an agenda. So what we do is we try to take a look at what do all paths of spirituality tend to have in common. They have in common things like meaning, dealing with loss, what does love mean in your life, how do you deal with transcendence. What they come to recognize is that a lot of what we're doing in all kinds of therapy really is, there's a spiritual aspect to all of it. We talk about attunement and connection with other people in relationship, that is spirituality. So when we come at it in that way, we're really able to tap into the experience that all the students have and strengthen that. And then they're also encouraged to find a path for them that works for them, that's going to be beneficial to them. Just like exercise and diet for the body and the things that they're doing cognitively, that spirituality is much broader than religion. But I think we do it in a respectful way also, because we don't have a specific agenda. But I'll tell you, that can be a challenge.
Do they have the choice? Can they go to religious services if they want to on Sundays or whenever?
Yeah, they can. We make sure that we accommodate that, and that happens pretty much as soon as they get here. We, of course, will judge whether it's safe or not for somebody to leave the campus, but very early on, we have them going to church. We try to find non-denominational churches for them to go to, but if they had a specific request, a specific need, we would certainly be able to accommodate that. Here in Needville, it feels like we're out in the middle of nowhere, and I'm convinced that we are. But we're not too far from a metropolitan area where we have access to all kinds of options for them.
Okay, well, I think it's about time that we should go on to the next station. Gail, I think we're supposed to head out for the barn and see a little bit of what they do with the horses. this segment, we're going to talk about the horses and their equine therapy. And I have with me Lucy, who I understand is head of this part of the operation. And Lucy's going to explain to me and everybody else exactly what the equine therapy is and what it's all about.
We're just out riding today with the girls. They get to ride 3 days a week. We also do the equine therapy 3 days a week, and we use the EGALA model. That is the equine assisted learning and growth model, and we do that in our equine assisted psychotherapy. We use a team approach. It's a solution oriented approach, and that is where the girls can work with the horses to get their own answers.
Okay, well, what exactly is equine therapy? I presume it's a little bit more than, or would you explain how it's more than just riding the horses like most people seem to do?
We focus on the ground. They don't ride during the equine therapy. We give them an activity that is a real life metaphor for them to work with, and then we process it after they do it. And today we're going to show y'all a little bit about that. We have an activity cut out for today.
Okay, then as they're doing it, are you going to commentate, do a commentary as what they're doing and what they're up to for us?
Yes, sir.
Okay, well, we'll try taking a look at equine therapy. So do we want to focus on the horses?
Yes, Jamie and I will get the horse, and I'll go out and get the girls, and we'll tie their horses up, and we'll come back down for the equine therapy.
Okay, that sounds good. Hi, Jamie? Jamie Porter. Hi, Jamie. Good to meet you, Jamie. Okay, well, what can you tell us while they're getting ready?
Well, Lucy is our EGALA trained, let me hold this for you. She's our EGALA trained therapist, and I'm actually one of the primary therapists here. So we actually work together as a team. So Mondays and Wednesdays, 2 times a week, we do the EAP that she was just talking about. EAP stands for Equine Assisted Psychotherapy. And like she mentioned before, we help the girls go through kind of an obstacle of the sort, and then we take some time afterwards to process it and kind of add some real life application to it, or try to make connections for the struggles that they've had in the past and the struggles that they have currently. But
I have a question.
Sure, go ahead.
So you're telling me you're using the horses as therapists?
Yes, yes. It's, horses are the therapist, I'm the therapist, Lucy's the therapist, and so we help the girls kind of process the stuff that's going on with them. This activity that we're about to do, actually, we're going to have the girls come over, and we're going to assign them an emotion. Actually, they're going to utilize this horse over here. Her name is Sky, and they're going to utilize both sides of her using 2 emotions on each side. And y'all can probably watch them as they take that emotion and as a group come together and to display that emotion on the horse, and then we go from there. So that way we can process that emotion with them.
Okay. So are we about ready, or you got a little bit more explaining to do on this?
They are walking back over. I'm going to go grab those emotions for you real quick, okay?
Okay. Well, I guess I'm going to find out what emotions they're talking about and what we're doing here. We're watching getting ready to watch a demonstration of equine therapy here at Fulshear Ranch in Texas under this warm summer sun. It's summer for me compared to North Idaho. Okay, what's happening?
I'm wondering if they should know the emotions that we're doing. Should I show them what they are? Yeah, that'd be great. Sorry, excuse me. We have the emotion sad. We have the emotion sad here, and then we have the emotion angry.
The one on the ground. Okay.
Angry, and then that way they're going to go as a team and kind of work together and chalk up the horse with these emotions. And they'll have to, as a group, come together and figure out how they want to draw that on the horse to display it. And then we process that afterwards. This is horse chalk. We have different colors, orange, red, and green. We've had blue and pink, but this is what we have right at the moment. Okay, Lucy's going to hold the horse while the girls do this. Y'all ready to come over? And if you want me to hold it while I'm explaining?
Yes, while you're explaining.
Okay.
Do you need an extra hand there?
I'll be okay. It normally starts with an instruction. Lucy normally gives them the instruction, and then we give them some time to do it. So I'm going to give them an instruction, and then we're going to just give them a moment. Y'all can watch them do this. Okay?
Good, thanks.
Ladies, if y'all come over here. Lucy's going to hold the horse while we do this. I am going to give y'all 2 emotions, and y'all can draw one emotion on one side and the other emotion on the other side, but you 3 have to work together to display this emotion. Red, orange, and green. Y'all can decide use all or pick one, whatever. Okay, well, who wants to hold on to them? We're going to have to communicate about that. Okay, on one side, we're going to use this emotion. Okay, and on the other side, we're going to use this emotion. Okay, y'all ready? Go ahead. Communicate how y'all are going to do it. Sarah's touching the back of the horse so that when you go behind it, the horse won't kick. And they're having to communicate about how they're going to display. They've got one side, one emotion, the other side, the other.
Now, what's the reason for using 2 different emotions for each side? Is there some sort of interplay between them that'll occur?
No, not necessarily. In the past, we've done this experience before where we've done, actually the darker horses, they pick up the pain a little bit more, and we'll pick like 3 or 4 different horses, and then afterwards we'll do a horsemanship where we'll wash the horses and whatnot, but this is just so that y'all can see how they can utilize the horse and accomplish more emotions and more therapy at the same time.
Now, is this primarily an exercise for the students, or does the horse react in some way?
That's a really good question. EAP is about, there's 2 aspects that go into this. After we're done with an experience or an obstacle, Lucy and I are watching the girls when we're watching the horse. The girls a lot of times will have reactions. We can tell they feel nervous. We might ask them how they're feeling when they're near the horses. We might ask them if there's something coming up from a previous experience. We're also watching the horse. A lot of times if their ears are going back, then we kind of note that. And we also, when we process, we might see that a horse might back up or be reactive of some sort, and we try to take that into play.
So they're reacting to the emotions of the kids.
Yes, and that's actually something that we might pull up later on. So when you were nervous walking to the horse started backing off. Do you think the horse was picking up on that emotion? And a lot of times we'll talk with the girls about really slowing down, taking deep breaths, calming their emotions so that they can feel more comfortable around the horse and the horse can feel more comfortable around them. There's many dynamics that are going on at the same time. It looks like we've got one side done and they're helping each other finish up the other one.
Now, what are the girls doing? Why I see one's drawing a figure, a face, and the other's words. So what are the girls going through doing it? How are they processing this?
Well, that's actually the questions that I would probably end up asking them as we go into it. Would you like to start maybe processing one of them with us, or one of the asides? Can we go near and look at this? Okay, we're going to go to Lauren's side. That side's done. Sorry. Okay, maybe, Lucy, we can bring the horse around. That's even better. Would one of y'all, or both of y'all, or all 3 of y'all maybe help? Okay, we're going to do this side first. Would any of y'all like to maybe talk a little bit about what y'all drew and what this emotion was? Can y'all guess what it is, by the way? Can you guess what this is? We've got, maybe so y'all can talk about it a little bit.
Okay, well, we had anger for this side, and we have an angry man here. This is a volcano, because I know personally that when I get upset, it's kind of, everything happens, and it's like an eruption. Dangers, beware. What's that side say, Nancy? What's that say, Sarah? Did you write? Roar. She roared. And then be careful. The other things on this side, that makes sense to me.
So what I gather is the girls had in mind an emotion, and they put on the horse what the emotions made them feel, At the same time, the horse was probably reacting to it, and so the horse's reactions to their feelings as they were drawing what they saw from that. Okay, I think I understand what's going on.
Yeah, at this point I might say to the girls, so do you feel that the horse maybe could pick up on that anger? Could you tell that maybe she felt that emotion within? Do you think that she projected it, picked up any of that? And the girls might go, well, she didn't pick up on it, or maybe she did, or we kind of process that because as we're talking about a certain emotion, we're feeling it inside. Is the horse picking up on that? Do you want to talk about the other side here?
Okay, so this side was sadness, and we did like clouds with rain and sad faces and tears, and it doesn't really show up very well, but we did tears coming down her face to show that she was sad. And there's, what does that say? Crying, hurt, down, and tears written on it. Sorry. Okay, Sarah, do you?
What was it like for you to do that? Did you tap into any of your own emotions or your own experiences when you wrote about the anger or the sadness?
Yeah, it's definitely difficult to describe the emotion without using the emotion, but this helps me to put it in perspective. And I definitely think that Sky was able to pick up on what we were feeling at the time. Horses tend to be very sensitive animals and can easily pick up on people's emotions.
Okay, well, does anybody else have anything else to add to that or to clarify what's happened? I think it's fairly clear to me how the interchange of motion between the horse and the students seem to be pretty plain.
Anybody want to speak how EAPs helped them throughout their therapy? Maybe make a connection.
See, for me, horses are a big part of my life. And that's one of the reasons why I chose this specific program was for the EAP and riding aspect of it. And the fact that we get to do the EAP, and obviously Sky's not too happy, but that makes it interesting for us to see how, at the same time, we can deal with it. So it just gives us a different perspective on it. Some of the horses will stand still, some of the horses will move around, but it's just fun because we don't always draw on the horses. We do other things with them, and it's just interesting to see what they come up with for us.
Anybody else?
Well, it also makes it easier to relate, like the things that we're trying to process by having the horses. Like we can relate a lot of the stuff into our real lives, which is really helpful and interesting. It's like a new fun way to do the things that we normally process. I know that when I first came here, I had a lot of trouble identifying my emotions and getting in touch with them. The horses here really helped me to do that. Horses are very sensitive, and they easily pick up on my emotions. And Gabby over there is probably my favorite horse, and she has helped me so much in my recovery.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, well, thank you very much, girls. Janet, Lucy, we've just been watching a demonstration of one of the techniques used by equine therapy. Now, I've been asked to remind people that before we started this tour, there were several photos and videos on the feed that is a preliminary to this tour, and that they'll be shown again. So after the tour is over, we've got one more station to go. But after the tour is over, if you stay tuned, that there'll be some more of the videos showing the grounds of the Fulshear Ranch here in Texas. Oh, welcome back. This is Lon Woodbury, independent educational consultant from North Idaho, here visiting Fulshear Ranch in Texas, a school program for young ladies, young women that have had some experiences that they need this kind of help in the program. This is our third step, third station, and I'm going to interview a couple of the students, or actually I'm going to ask them to tell me what they want about their experiences here and what it's like living here at Fulshear Ranch. Now, would each one of you introduce yourself and how long you've been here, and a little bit about how you came to choose coming here. Rachel, you want to start?
Sure. My name is Rachel Tasty. I'm 19 years old. I'm from Santee, California. I'm here because when I was 11, my cousin raped me, and I'm just here so that way I can learn how to get over the trauma, how to move on, how to be more independent, and I'm also here to learn how to get a job. And life here at Fulshear had been pretty easy compared to what I've been through at home. I mean, I like being on a ranch. It's a lot of fun. There's horses. There are a lot of girls around to talk to if I should ever need to talk to anyone. And I've also made quite a few friends.
My name is Jessica, and I'm 21 from Orange County, California, and I'm here for substance abuse issues and eating disorder. God, there's a lot. Trauma, and some other stuff. And I've been here for 4 months.
Okay. Well, could you tell us what it's like to be here, or what you've learned? What's the most important, and what part of the program you like, the equine therapy, or the therapy, or the residential living, or the academics? So which part do you like? Have you been getting the most out of? We'll start with you, Jessica, for the last 4 months.
Probably my favorite activity here at the ranch has been the opportunity to go out into the community and go to school. I'm 21 and I just started college this past semester, and it's really nice to have this kind of home base where things are structured and it's not like I'm living out on my own, but still getting the opportunity to go to school and learn. And I'm doing really well, which is awesome. Probably one of the biggest things I've learned here in the 4 months that I've been here is acceptance. And I would say that because being here, you come into contact with a lot of different people, and there's stuff that happens that I don't necessarily always agree with, but learning to be in a place of acceptance, I have so much more peace than when I first got here. And I never thought I would say this, but I'm actually really grateful for this program and for the fact that I'm here right now.
Okay, well, and Rachel, what have you found most helpful of the various elements of the program here?
What I find helpful is that there are a lot of girls who've gone through the same trauma that I have, and some of them are doing pretty well on their own right now. However, there are other girls who need a bit of inspiration for them to get on, and I find it best that I am within those two girls, that I'm in the happy medium. Well, maybe not so happy, but anyway. I find it pretty cool to be here at Fulshear Ranch because there are a lot of things that I can learn, like how to take care of horses, how to live independently, as I said before, and stuff like that.
Okay, well, a little bit about myself. I've visited a lot of different programs. I was here a number of years ago, and I've visited a lot of different programs, and I even had my daughter in one, a horse ranch up in Montana. She needed a little bit of extra help like you girls did. But I'd like to, you think of anything else you want to talk about, or what you think about the staff? Like Jessica, you talked about the community activities. And Rachel, do you want to talk a little bit more about what you hope to gain from this and what your hopes for the future are?
Well, what my hopes for this are, as soon as I graduate phase 3, I will learn to be independent, as I said before, how to hold on to an apartment, how to get a job, and what I hope to do after I graduate from FRA is that I'm actually hoping to move to New York so that way I can start attending the American Academy of the Dramatic Arts, which is my dream college. And I'm also hoping to get myself a job in either theater or in the film industry. And if I can't do that, then I would like to become a photographer. Those are my two dream jobs. Oh, and becoming a crime scene investigator, just like on the TV show.
Okay, Jessica, your dreams for the future?
Well, after this, I plan to, after I get some credits at the local junior college, I plan to go to a 4-year institution. I'm not really sure which one yet, but I'm actually kind of interested in UT Austin, which is kind of weird because it's in Texas. But I'm a singer-songwriter, and right now my major is music, and I want to do something with songwriting and entertainment business management. And basically, you know, just this opportunity that I have right here is setting me up for the rest of my life. This is kind of the end of the road for me. And I just want to learn as much as I can so that when I go out in the world, I can be successful and be sober and be happy. So that's pretty much it in a nutshell.
Okay, either one of you have anything more to add before we wrap this up? Yeah, Jessica.
One thing that I really want to mention is the therapists here are amazing. My therapist is Chris Brown, and he is awesome, and I've learned so much from him and all the other therapists, and if for no other reason to be here, I would stay here for those therapists. They're awesome. So.
Okay, well, that's very good. Well, Jessica, Rachel, thank you very much. We've been talking to a couple of the students that here at Fulshear Ranch in Texas. I'm Lon Woodbury, independent educational consultant down here from North Idaho, enjoying the warmer weather than Idaho has right now, and getting filled in what things are like here at Fulshear Ranch. We thank you very much for listening. And of course, if you have any questions, the Twitter address and the email address, I'm sure, still works, and would try to get a response to you.